Hey y'all, it is Hope at Crafty Hope, and I am working in my Bobbsey Twins journal. This is just an old Bobbsey Twins book that I got from the free shelf at the library. So it has worked out great as a journal, and I didn't even like prep the pages or glue a bunch of pages together, but of course I'm only maybe halfway through it, so we'll see how it looks at the end. I am starting off this one with some collage because you can see some spray bled through this one, and I kind of wanted to cover that up. And I end up covering pretty much most of this page with this with collage with just different papers using my Uhu glue stick. I'm going to skip ahead and not make y'all watch all of my collaging so that yeah, because it's just a bunch of papers getting glued down. No big deal. So yeah, I want to apologize for the length of this video. I tried to make it as short as possible. That's why, like, stuff like this, I skipped ahead. But there's so many little details to this page that I really wanted to include as much of them as possible and not speed it up so much. So I hope you'll forgive me for that, for it being almost 20 minutes long. So, and we'll see how YouTube agrees with that. So, once I got my pages down, I kind of wanted them to meld together a little bit more, and I had an idea of something I wanted to try. So I'm going ahead and just covering up all of this with a light coat of Dino Wakely mixed media, or Dino Wakely media gesso. I'll put a link to a lot of my materials below in the description box. I am part of the Amazon Associates program, so if you purchase anything after you click on one of those links, I might get a small compensation. So there's my disclaimer. I used both a paintbrush and a I don't know, whatever that card thing is, to just kind of spread out that whatchamacallit, gesso. And then I pulled out some Lindy sprays. That is Rusty Lantern Lime, and I'm also using Steampunk Sepia, which I think I used here recently on another page. And it's nice, just light brown color. I don't know. Anyway, so I sprayed those, put a little, just tiny bit of water on it. I'm going to move it around and then with just gravity, and then I'm going to use a wet paintbrush to move. I kind of didn't like some of the bigger splotches that were there, so I kind of wanted to move those around just a little bit. And I think I'm going to, from there, use my heat gun and dry it a little bit. I think I'm going to use a piece of paper and pick up, yeah, a little bit of it. And then, yeah, which always makes for some yummy papers off to the side. And then I'm going to use my heat gun here and dry it. And this is just kind of in the background. Oh, I sprayed a little bit more, I guess, of that sepia. And then I'm going to dry it. Woo! Man, like I said, this is really long, but it's got some great details you'll see in the pictures at the end. So here is where I was kind of experimenting. I have got my clear gesso. This is from Prima Marketing. And I am putting down just the tiniest little bit. I kind of wanted some areas to be covered by the gesso and some areas not, because I knew I wanted to put some watercolors down, and I wanted to see how that soaked through. Now, this might have worked better had I not used the white gesso and left the, what do you call it? And left the papers that I had collaged down exposed, because those would have absorbed the watercolor more, and this technique ended up not really working out. I mean, if you look super close, you might can see it, but it was an experiment. It was something to try. So yeah, I am pulling out just this little thing of watercolors that was a gift from Erin of Happily We Go. I'll see if I can link to her site. I don't know that she's made a whole lot of watercolors lately. Not that I've seen from her, so, but you could still probably go to her site and check out her stuff, because she does some amazing portraitures, or portraits, or, I don't know. She draws amazing faces, so. I'm putting down that little bit of that corally color of the watercolor, and somewhere in here I realized I never dried that clear gesso. So I'm going to stop here for a second. You see me, I'm trying to get that beautiful color spread out a little bit. And I think it's in here that I realized, oh my gosh, I'm probably just moving around that clear gel. So I'm going to stop here in just a second and dry all of this and then add a little bit more of the watercolor. But I was having so much fun, you see, spreading that watercolor out that it took me a minute. So I dried that, and then I'm going to come back in here and add just a couple more spots with that color, y'all. I'm not usually a peachy pinky color, but I do, well, I guess more, I'm not more of a pink color, but I kind of have been digging like corals and salmons and peaches a little bit more lately. So I don't know. And something about putting that green down and then putting this peachy down really kind of appealed to me. So, and I'm just getting it in a couple spots, making it feel like I like to have things even, and that's it's just one of those things for me to just make sure everything's nice and even. So I'm going to try these watercolors super quick. I skip ahead on this as well. Like I said, I tried to cut out as much of this as I could. And then I've got my, is it Playmate or I always get it wrong. I'll have a link to this. These are 1.3 millimeter pencils, mechanical pencils. They're triangular, and I just like the heft of them. So I'm making some tally marks on here, just getting a little bit of mark making on there, and I'm gonna put it on different areas of the page. I think maybe I only put it in 2 spots. You know, that's fine, whatever. And I like that the pencil in general will smear a little if you rub over the top of it. And so I'm constantly, it's like a charcoal, it's a graphite. It's going to smear a little. And those, especially with the chunkiness of them, I guess there's so much coverage of it that it smears beautifully. And I like that. So, yeah, so my 100-day, this was part of the 100-day project, and I needed to use double-sided tape. And initially, I was going to just use plain old boring double-sided tape. But then I was like, wait, I have all this foam tape that I picked up. I pick up everywhere. Most of what I'm using on this day, I think, was just from the Dollar Tree. And I was like, you know what else I just picked up? A bunch of yearbooks. So, well, not a bunch. I think I got 2. But I'm going to use some pictures from that. And so this I picked out before I started this page, and it's a group picture of some ladies from the French club from this. It was an all girls college, and this was their French club, and it's tiny. I mean, my high school French club was massive compared to this college's. So I cut out that picture, and then I backed it with just some scrap cardstock that was sitting on my desk. It's part of the reason I keep my scraps is so I have things like that to use, because I wanted to give that yearbook photo a little more feeling of like an actual photo, that heavier feeling than what you get in a yearbook, and that really helped it a lot. And then I'm going to use this tool. I guess it's some kind of distressing tool from Tim Holtz Studios, or Tonic Studios, Tim Holtz. Anyway, it's a distressing tool. You could also use a pair of scissors to just kind of rough up the edges, and that's all it does really, is rough up the edges. And then I wanted to age it just a bit more, so and again, this is part of the reason I used that cardstock backer, is to give it, so it could take more what I'm going to throw at it here. So I'm going to start by aging this with some, what is that, tea dye. It's Distress Ink and tea dye, and I have got a makeup blending tool, I don't know, I guess that's what you call it, that I'm using to add the color to. I got the tool at the Dollar Tree. But then after I got them, I really haven't seen them much since. I guess everybody else discovered them too, but I've seen a lot of like card makers use this kind of tool for blending. And yeah, so I thought, all right, I'll try it. And I really like it. And another tool from the Dollar Tree there is a nail buffer. And I'm just using that to sand down that picture, take a little bit of the shine from the yearbook out. And now I'm trying to use, I don't know, all kinds of different little tools to really kind of give some age to that picture. I don't know, I put some lines in it with, I don't know, something on with my desk. I used the side of a hammer. Now I'm just kind of bending it because I'm getting like cracks that reveal some of the white of the paper. And I really like that. That worked out beautifully. And then I'm just going to add a little bit more of that ink for more age. But some of those cracks I kept white, some of the cracks and scratches and stuff that got on there, but it's the edges I'm really concerned about making sure that tea dye ink gets on. So super easy, kind of fun to do, really, just to tear that apart. And then what I'm going to do from there is pick out kind of like a frame. It's not really going to go around the front of it. It's going to go around the back. I think initially I thought I might frame it around the front, but because the way that picture is, those ladies' heads were so far at the top, I knew that I didn't want to cut their heads out of that by trying to frame it around the front of it. So I'm just going to cut down this piece of scrapbook paper. Y'all, I love this black and white polka dot scrapbook paper. I don't know where I got it, but I've used it in all kinds of things. So, so yeah, I'm just going to cut that paper down, and I'm going to round the corners. I don't know if you saw, I rounded the corners, not with a, I've got one of those little rounding punch tools, but I feel like it's more organic if I just do it with my, see, here's where I thought I was going to cut out the inside and frame it up, but I realized those ladies' heads were going to get cut off. So yeah, I was like, okay, no, it'll just go behind it. So I'm going to round the corners real quick. And like I said, it feels so much more organic when I do it with scissors. It gives it that bit of grunge and handmade feel, and I dig that. So yeah, and I really like that. And I think from here I decide I'm going to real quick age that paper as well, and I start by getting the tea dye, but I don't think it left much of an impression on it, or maybe it didn't leave enough of an impression. So I grab my walnut stain distress oxide and go around again with the same blending tool onto that piece of paper. I don't know what's taken me so long to find it, but there it is. And it definitely, I don't know, for me it's more opaque, and that worked well on that kind of dark scrapbook paper. So, and I'm not going to rough that up in any other way, just give it that little bit of brown color on the edges, and it worked beautifully. Yeah. Alright, so from here, I'm going to study that for a bit. Like I said, I cut some of this out, so you don't see me do a whole lot more. But I decided the page needed some more color, some more something. So I'm grabbing my bin of hand carved stamps. Some of y'all have asked for pictures of my hand, or a video of my hand carved stamps, and I have not figured out a way to do it. I filmed this one thing, and I don't know, it's the most boring thing in the world. Just watch me stamp these stamps. And so I can't decide. If y'all do want that video, let me know, and maybe I'll do another one that doesn't seem so boring. So, alright, so I'm using that walnut stain distress oxide to add that kind of diamond shape stamp, and then I'm going to grab, I don't know if it's peacock, I guess it's peacock feathers, I'm looking at it, yeah, peacock feathers, and just lightly adding this other kind of arch shape stamp onto the page. I think I wanted some curves there. I've got those, I don't know, here in a minute I'm realizing I don't like the super geometricness of the harsh lines of that diamond, and you'll see how I fix that. And that's what I love about the distress stuff, the oxides and the inks, is that I can, they're water soluble. So here's me trying to blur those lines because they're so harsh. And I love this technique of adding water to them and blurring those lines, but it just, yeah, I'm going to try to do this. And I really, I like the way that I added the lines like that, and it gave it some neat shadow on that one side. It made those feel a little more 3D. But see, I sit back, I stop, I look at it, and I'm like, let me think about this. And so I start blurring a little bit more, and I say, nope. And I just take my little spray bottle, and yeah, and that blurred those lines beautifully, didn't it? So I'm going to try that real quick. I'm going to pick up a little bit of that ink with a piece of paper real quick, and then and then dry those. Yeah. And that almost looks like a coffee dye there, doesn't it? So once I get that mostly dry, I'm coming back with my picture here, and I decide that I needed something darker. I needed some black on there. That picture itself is black. The backer of it is black. I needed that color elsewhere on the page. So I've got my Stabilo Woody in black. I could have also just taken a Stabilo All, I suppose. But this seemed easier, and I just made some scribbly lines that I'm adding a little bit of water to, nothing definite, nothing precise, and I'm going to look at that, and I wanted that line to continue onto the other page, and then I didn't like that there was separation between those two lines, so I connect them. Yeah, like I said, I couldn't cut any of this out for y'all, but we're getting close to the end here. There's not much more, but some of my favorite techniques of this are coming up here soon. So I decided to go ahead, that was enough with the background, decided to go ahead and stick down that piece of scrapbook paper, and then I'm going to grab that foam tape and go ahead, oh wait, at first I take my little card thing and decide to kind of move those lines just a little bit, what's wet there. I don't know, it makes it kind of a neat effect. I have tried it with some things before, but sometimes it's fun to just kind of grab that little bit of color that's on there and pull it out and see what happens. And yeah, that was fun. So here I grab my foam tape. This foam tape from the Dollar Tree comes in 3 sizes, so I think I may have gone ahead and grabbed the biggest of the 3 just to give myself as much area as possible to stick that down. And I'm just going to basically go do the outside of it. I'm not even worrying. I don't think I put any in the middle. But y'all can see how that's a piece of scrap cardstock there. It was something I had stamped on and ended up not liking. And rather than throw that cardstock away, it worked perfectly in this. So I'm not advocating never throw anything away. Well, maybe I am, but keep what you may need. Don't, saving every little scrap may not be necessary, but something like cardstock can always, especially if you're hiding it like this, can be used somehow else. So I did cut out a big portion. It was like a minute and a half of me looking through my chit chat or small talk stickers and my snarky stickers from Tim Holtz, and finding a phrase. I don't remember what it says right now. It's about being fluent in something, which I thought was perfect because that's the French club. But then I realized that maybe that wouldn't translate without knowing that that's the French club. So I grab my piercing tool, which is also from Tonic Studios. It's just kind of a pokey tool, and wrote the words French, or scratched in the words French Club onto that picture. And that is one of my favorite things I've done, because that was something I've never done before, and I don't know, it added something really to that page, because I was able to scratch through that top layer of paper underneath. And yeah, it's super awesome. I took a little bit of brown Stabilo All and put underneath the that sticker just to give it a little bit shadow, and added water to it. And then I think that's going to be it for this page, y'all. It was really fun. I'm sorry it took forever to get through, but I hope you can see some of the details in the pictures here I'm about to show y'all. So if y'all have any questions about any of this, let me know. Make sure you like this with a thumbs up and subscribe. All right, keep on crafting on, y'all. Bye.